Я обращаюсь к вам с конца сегодняшнего дня, но я очень рекомендую посмотреть и досмотреть эту секцию до конца. Я специально собрал видео из разных кусков, потому что часть снималась на мой телефон, часть я взял из Zoom записи, а вот часть доснял потом во время экскурсии с участниками нашей сегодняшней секции уже вот в центре исламской цивилизации, где у нас очень интересная экскурсия. Именно та, как бы историческая, нарративная часть потенциала астротуризма в Узбекистане, которую мы сегодня касались, и многие спикеры со всего мира ее тоже отмечали. Это те ученые, Аль-Фараби, Аль-Бируни, и, конечно же, Улугбек, Омар Хайям, которые здесь работали. И наследие 20 века в виде ряда обсерваторий, которые находятся тоже в уникальных природных локациях, именно уникальных по погодным условиям. Все это создает потенциал для развития астротуризма. Поэтому смотрите, там будет много интересного. Туризмолог, Центр исламской цивилизации, Ташкент. Такая вот сессия по астротуризму в Узбекистане. Во всяком случае, за время своего 25-летнего опыта в туризме мне еще не приходилось встречаться с такой тематикой. Коротко обо мне. Я модератор, меня зовут Михаил Шамшидов. Я давно в туризме, как я сказал, больше 25 лет. И 15 лет я занимался туристическим бизнесом, приемом иностранных туристов в Узбекистан. С 2018 года занимаюсь деятельностью экспертной, консультирую, провожу тренинги, преподаю в университете, выступаю публично и иногда модерирую какие-то мероприятия тоже. Поэтому, мне бы хотелось, как модератору, чтобы мы сегодня, знаете, не просто послушали интересные, какие-то там, что творится в мире, а благодаря тому, что у нас уникальные эксперты будут со всего мира, часть будет онлайн, и здесь присутствуют очень интересные люди, чтобы мы с вами, знаете, во-первых, собрали какую-то интересную информацию, а потом, я надеюсь, у нас будет время на дискуссию. Добро пожаловать на секцию по астротуризму. Вообще астротуризм — это тренд, который еще с ковида растет, в 2025 году он вообще был объявлен как самый быстрорастущий тренд в мире, на 320% вырос за 4 года. Почему? Потому что мы всегда мечтали, о космосе, особенно те, кто поколения моего и старше. Потом как-то космос превратился в какую-то, больше, заботы о материальном. Но сейчас мы видим, и общий ландшафт, меняется. Опять стали летать в космос, опять стали, возвращаться какие-то организации, которые занимаются изучением космоса, полетами в космос. И получается, что сейчас у нас какой-то своего рода космический ренессанс. И как человек туризма, я очень рад, что в туризм эта тема тоже приходит. И в частности, в туризм Узбекистана у нас потенциал имеется однозначно. Это и ряд обсерваторий, находящихся в уникальных локациях. У нас сегодня будет Майданакская, конкретно Китабская есть много каких-то таких небольших локаций, я знаю, на Бильдерсае есть Суфа, недостроенная, но тоже большой проект. То есть, в принципе, научно-техническая база, она имеется. В туризме очень важен нарратив, описание, какие-то истории, Люди не просто поедут, например, посмотреть в телескоп, им нужна какая-то предыстория, какая-то легенда или же какой-то исторический факт. Почему они должны поехать именно в эту точку света, а не в другую? В этом плане у нас тоже все окей, потому что исторически на протяжении тысячелетия на этой земле велись астрономические наблюдения. И здесь работали и Аль-Харизми, Аль-Фаргони, и Омар Хайям, который тоже был астрономом, какое-то количество времени провел в Самарканде, в Бухаре. И, конечно же, супер бренд — это Улугбек. Это супер бренд, который мы должны правильно использовать, упаковывать вместе с современными техническими средствами для наблюдения за этим тёмным небом. Dark Sky Tourism называется это во всем мире. Не путаем, друзья, с дарк-туризмом, да, это немножко другое направление. Оно тоже у нас есть, это Аральское море, но это такое, да, это места катастроф. А вот Dark Sky туризм, это именно туризм, связанный с темным небом. У нас сегодня будет очень интересный спикер, который именно нам скажет, как у нас с этим обстоят дела на собственном опыте. Не буду сейчас забегать вперед. Но в целом мы сейчас не на пустом месте говорим вот об этой теме. Только потому, что она модная, только потому, что она в тренде во всем мире. Нет, у нас вот реально есть чем работать. Вот эти три основные фактора — это растущий интерес мировой к этой тематике, научно-техническая база и наш нарратив, связанный с живущими здесь во все времена учеными. Причем мы сейчас вспомнили, ученых древности, да, а какая там в 20 веке была колоссальная работа проведена, да, опять-таки есть соответствующие учреждения, институции, поэтому сегодня тоже у нас будут спикеры. Ну что, как говорится, как сказал Гагарин, поехали, да? Ну и первый спикер — это Мухаммад Садык Турдалиев, ведущий аналитик агентства Узкосмос. Почему мы решили поставить на первое место? Узкосмос — это для нас амбрелла. Это как вот это звездное небо. Вам слово. Ваша презентация уже есть.
Let me introduce myself. My full name is Mухаммad Садык. I'm from Узкосмос agency, which is related to digital technology Ministry of Узбекистан. Our main focus, our main aim to gain space.
Продолжение выступления Мухаммада Садык Турдалиева из агентства Узкосмос можно посмотреть на 2 часа 00 минут в конце этого видео. Выступление продолжается на узбекском языке. Следующий спикер очень интересный. Вообще, кто знает Майданак? Такое место, локацию? 3-4 руки, не густо, 5. Я тоже 6. Я тоже не знал до 22 года, в 22 году первый раз попал туда, это в Кашкадаре. Это очень интересное место, локация находится высоко в горах. И там, значит, одна из уникальных вообще в мире по своей, там определенные параметры, чистота воздуха, да, высота и так далее, широта, долгота. Обсерватория находилась. Но в тот момент, сейчас тоже есть. Она и есть, да. Нет, я говорю, что тогда это была только обсерватория, а вот когда я знакомился со спикерами, с нашими, то вот Алишер Рузикулов, который сейчас будет выступать, он как раз таки является главным специалистом Майданакского высокогорного туристического центра. То есть теперь это называется туристическим центром. При всем при том, что Алишер за плечами работы именно в Институте астрономии Академии наук Узбекистана, Майданакском измерительном комплексе и так далее. То есть вот, Алишер Хикматович, вам слово. Сейчас будет выступать человек, который занимался всю жизнь астрономией, да, деятельностью астрономической, а теперь занимается деятельностью на стыке туризма и астрономии. Очень интересно, что, оказывается, у нас уже что-то в этом плане происходит. И там вот инфраструктура такая. Выступление Алишера Рузикулова, главного специалиста Майданакского высокогорного туристического центра, можно посмотреть на 2 часах 14 минутах данного видео выступления на узбекском языке. Следующий спикер у нас Юсуф Абдумаджидович Тилаев, замдиректора Астрономического института Академии наук Республики Узбекистан. Вот. Все знаете, где находится Астрономический институт? На Тимирязево, да? В центре Ташкента. Я когда-то в этом институте в детстве на велосипеде катался и смотрел на эти телескопы, на все. Но вот никогда не думал, что замдиректором буду стоять, так сказать, на одной конференции. Расскажите нам, какую вы деятельность ведете, но именно в среде туризма, да, потому что мы здесь не об астрономии, мы здесь об астротуризме.
Да, меня зовут Юсуф, я заместитель директора. У нас сейчас идет конференция по астрономии в новом университете Узбекистана. Я позавчера там выступил. И так как не планировалось мое выступление, я на скорую группу переделал презентацию. Если позволите, я расскажу про наш институт, про обсерваторию нашего института и про туризм, про астротуризм на Майданак. My name is Yusuf. I'm the Deputy Director of Astronomical Institute. It's Ulugbek Astronomical Institute located in Tashkent. It belongs to the Academy of Sciences of Uzbekistan. Next slide, please. So,
English is okay? Because most of the speakers will speak English today. No translation.
okay. So this is the outline of my talk. I will introduce our institute. It's Ulugbek Astronomical Institute, UBAI, and its Майданак observatory. And a few words about the optical characteristics of optical astronomy, and we call it astroclimate, and scientific parameters. And I will talk about mainly sky background at Майданак, because light pollution becomes very important. I mean, the decreasing light pollution becomes very important year after year. That's why I will do this kind of attention to this topic. So this is the main building of Astronomical Institute in Tashkent. So it was founded in 1873, more than 150 years ago. And the right side picture shows one of the first astronomical telescopes in Tashkent, in Uzbekistan. So this is the optical telescope. We call it a normal astrograph. It was intended to create sky map of the sky. And it was the part of the Cardussier project, French project of Cardussier. Telescope is made in France. Next slide, please. So this is the museum of our institute, and you are welcome, very welcome to come to our institute. And different instrumentation which were once used in our observatory, in our institute, we are keeping them in the museum. So our main facility, observational facility in Майданак, 500 kilometers away from here. Why? We had an observatory in Tashkent, but city became bigger and bigger, light pollution and other different reasons made it impossible to continue astronomical observations in Tashkent. That's why we created a new observatory. Among the more than 30 candidate places, we have chosen a place at Mount Майданак. There are 7 operational telescopes at Майданак. So biggest one is 1.5 meter. In the mirror, it's a mirror size. The building itself 20 meters high. And just a few words about confusion. Most of people think that observatory no longer exists, but it's not true. Observatory is operational. It stays in the same place and it's operational. We have 7 operational telescopes and so on. But the touristic center is located in 5 kilometers away from our summit. Can you slide here, please? So we have actually 2 Майданак summits, 2 Майданак mountains. And West summit is Майданак observatory. East summit is touristic center is being built there. This is the biggest telescope we have here in Israel. The telescope itself. So as I said, the aperture mirror size is 1.5 meter, and this is one of the biggest telescopes in the Central Asia. And we have special instrumentation from China. This camera came from Korea. The estimation, the price of this camera is more than $300 US. And we have operational telescopes, so I will not stop here. And I have made some study of atmospheric parameters. So because we need to monitor increasing light pollution efficiency, we need to keep telescopes more effective. And that's why. And we have new telescope projects. Biggest one is 4-meter telescope, and this year 80 centimeter telescope is coming from Austria. Okay, slide. So this is the new telescope which will be installed this year in Майданак observatory. And some atmospheric parameters. Can you see the numbers? So this is the amount of clear time. As already my colleague Alishir said, that we have more than 250 days clear nights in Майданак. In summer we have the biggest amount of clear nights, but in spring and winter amount is lower. So it's obvious we have a seasonal variations of. Precipitable water vapor is important for observations of stars in infrared and radio band. We have a small video showing the sky background at Майданак. So this is the view to the east, where the touristic center is being built. So they continue working nighttime because time is short. They have to
return investments.
yes, and they have to begin the work of this touristic center this year. But we are sure that we will agree, we will have negotiations about lowering this light from the touristic center. But the worst thing that they are higher than us, 100 meters higher than us, and they are very close to us, like 5 kilometers away. So this is the sky background. If you have 22, 23, and 24 magnitude, it's good. The bigger this number, the better. But nowadays we have the value between 21 and 22nd magnitude. These are the influence of the moon, but the highest limit is around 22nd magnitude. And I think we should keep this value even after the touristic center has completed. Astronomical thing, this is just to compare our observatory with the other leading observatories. So we use special DIM instrumenting. So this is the cumulative value, but I could not quickly find the comparison to Chilean observatories, ORM in Canarian Islands and Hawaiian Islands. But anyway, the median value here is 0.7. And if you plot other observatories like Paranal, Asia, and so on, they lay down exactly on the same curve. And because this means the quality of our observatory is competing with the leading observatories. And we are proud to have this kind of observatory in Uzbekistan. And of course, we should use its potential for astrotourism also. We are accepting tourists in daytime. It's obvious we are doing it permanently, but we collaborate with China and other countries measuring. Also, we collaborate with European Southern Observatory. We brought a special instrument to keep monitoring of these parameters. So, conclusions. So, we have very good site. And we are accepting already tourists, and we are collaborating with tourism agency. And we will hope that new touristic center will not affect us negatively. Conversely, we will collaborate with them, and this will improve our collaboration of scientific collaboration through astrotourism. Thank you very much.
Знаете, вот прямо один назревает, да, но это даже не вопрос, комментарий, потому что это и было озвучено вами. Но получается, что в данном случае у нас конфликт с развитием астротуризма или туризма, да, на вашем объекте. Хорошая новость, то, что руководитель, он все-таки сам, он ваш, да, человек, он астроном, да, это классно. Но все-таки, вот, друзья, мы видим, да, что туризм, он не всегда такой белый и пушистый, да, везде, конечно, кричат, надо развивать туризм, это классно, но туризм, он совершает интервенции, да, вот, invasions, во многие сферы, да, и в такие тонкие. То есть вот здесь мы сейчас видим, что уникальная по параметрам астрономическая станция сейчас прежде всего подвергается рискам именно со стороны туризма, да, и как развивать астротуризм на этом объекте и при этом как бы не нарушить научную работу. И получится, что возможно такой эффект, что из-за вот этого светового загрязнения как раз таки именно настоящие астротуристы, почитав отзывы,
неприятный,
да,
неприятный,
условно говоря. И объект майданакский превратится в обычный, значит, дамолиш, да, такой экотуристический, так скажем, объект, а все-таки у него назначение же вот именно астро-туристическое. Понятно, что основной поток денежный у них все равно будет от обычных отдыхающих, да, потому что там высота, там прохладно летом. Но чтобы какое-то количество именно астротуристов приезжало, да, потому что это, как это называется, qualified tourists, да, то есть они с большим намного бюджетом, да, приезжают, то есть они будут нести эту информацию там, по определенным каналам о том, что в Узбекистане развивается такое направление. Поэтому вот этот баланс сейчас, конечно, очень, очень важно. Я понимаю, что у вас, с одной стороны, конфликт, с другой стороны, задача поставлена, да. Ну, хотелось бы пожелать вам, чтобы он решался не только в пользу туризма, а в пользу основной деятельности. А туризм был бенефициаром от этой основной деятельности, да, и чтобы светом туризма не был ярче света звезд. Спасибо вам огромное. Вопрос, пожалуйста.
А вот интересно узнать, они 5 километров далеко дали от вас, нельзя там, например, вот лампы так установить, чтобы вот их через правительство заставить, чтобы они лампы вот, установить, чтобы сверху он закрывался, чтобы на небо не, как бы, свет не уходил.
Мы одинаково думаем, мы это уже сделали. Да, мы вели переговоры, вот Алишер любезно согласился, да, потому что если оставить это все строителям, да, они поставят вот так, даже вот так. Да, Алишер уже сделал так, чтобы все лампы уже смотрят вниз. Да. В этом смысле есть продвижение.
Супер, супер. Еще один вопрос и все.
Суфа, да. Да, на Суфе там договоренность есть. Мы создаем международную организацию, которая будет создавать здесь МРАУ, называется, Международная радиоастрономическая обсерватория. Соглашение все есть. И там, скорее всего, будет не 70-метровый телескоп, радиотелескоп, а поменьше, скажем, 13, там, 25, что-то такое.
А вот тогда сразу вопрос опять. Ну, это обсерватория, это проект давнишний. Но сейчас Замин развивает туризм, да, и вот эта туристическая современная инфраструктура, которая тоже сколько там, 5 километров тоже, наверное, да?
Да.
А она вообще не испортит ли картину сейчас для телескопа?
Да, уже портит, потому что астрономы немножко опоздали. Теперь, когда рядом есть мобильный телефон, Wi-Fi и базовые станции, туда радиотелескоп уже ставить не имеет смысла. Но есть Майданак, есть запасная гора, куда можно ставить телескопы. Можно, скажем, на Суфе поставить 13-метровый и такой же, например, на Майданаке. Я показал, что влажность низкая на Майданаке, и это очень благоприятствует установке радиотелескопа.
Ну что, спасибо огромное. Сейчас вот у нас, видите, камера такая маленькая, да, оттуда смотрят 4 онлайн-спикера на нас. Сейчас до них дойдет речь через одного еще. Но let's say hello to our online speakers. So we are waiting at the moment when we will listen and participate in your presentations. So we are here. Давайте поприветствуем, друзья. Online speakers, we are waiting for you. Just one speaker before you. Следующий спикер. Приехала к нам госпожа Аполлония Родригес из Португалии. Тут особое, да, представление, потому что это реальный специалист, да, имеет степень в области управления и планирования туризма, астротуризма именно, университета Авейро, и является одним из наиболее признанных в Европе стратегов в создании устойчивых туристических дестинаций. Да? То есть мы сейчас будем слушать, а потом, кстати, общаться вот с такого уровня специалистом именно, да, тематичным к нашей секции. Именно она придумала и основала бренд Dark Sky. То есть мы пользуемся, получается, вот термином, который придумала Аполлония. Именно она придумала, основала бренд Dark Sky и дестинацию Dark Sky Алпуэла. Сегодня это глобальный эталон в астротуризме. Мы сегодня много узнаем, да, для себя, и вот узнаем про эту локацию в Португалии. В настоящее время Аполлония является президентом ассоциации Dark Sky и Алтеньежо Village Tourism Network, да, то есть еще и занимается сельским туризмом. Вопросы тоже можно задавать. Под это руководство, под ее руководством Dark Sky ЛКО получила более 60 международных наград, в том числе 16 мировых туристических наград и 3 награды только в 2025 году. Является лауреатом премии UN Tourism специальной. И для нас особенно ценно, что в ходе этого визита Аполлония побывала в горных локациях Бастаунского района. Они были действительно с ее коллегой, кстати, их двое. Мигель еще где-то взял, он фотографирует, да. Мигель астрофотограф, я тоже тогда сейчас скажу о нем. Он не будет выступать как спикер, но он может отвечать на вопросы, участвовать тоже в нашей дискуссии. И вот сегодня ночью фактически два гостя были в нашем Бастаунском районе, они нам расскажут о всех там плюсах и минусах, да, которые они увидели. Но все-таки именно Бастаунский район является самым потенциальным, да, самым близким к Ташкенту с точки зрения именно туризма. Аполлония, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I will speak in English. Unfortunately, I cannot speak Uzbek or Russian, so I will speak in English. I hope you will understand. If not, during the talk, after my presentation, you will ask if I have some doubts. My presentation is about astrotourism and how to build destinations in astrotourism. Independently of infrastructure or not, you have to build a brand under astrotourism idea. As I said before, I have 19 years of working in astrotourism, so I started in 2007 when no one was speaking about this. So astrotourism was something out of mind of many planners in tourism. But I work also in tendency for future demand. So I work before it is a demand, so I can prepare the destination for the demand. So it's important.
Demand driven.
Demand. Yes, pioneering has a lot of work because we make mistakes. We learn with our mistakes. For the others are not able, don't need to pass this kind of mistakes. So it's if you are starting now, many of mistakes we took in the past can be overcome because we know what was working and what was not working. And but I work since 1998 in tourism and sustainable tourism, so it's part of astrotourism also. So what is the problem of now is that we are losing the night. So we always had a good night, and our previous speakers told about light pollution. Light pollution is a big risk, not only for scientific research, but also for us as human beings. So more than 80% of humanity already lives under light pollution areas. It means that they lost the capacity to see the night sky. When I was starting and talking about this, everyone was looking to me like, you are a little bit crazy. The sky, but the sky is only a few stars, because they didn't see the Milky Way maybe since they were born, because they live in cities, polluted cities. So they don't understand what is a real dark sky. So when I joined, Miguel joined us in 2012 with astrophotography, it was the capacity to demonstrate what is really a dark sky. And through photography, we could manage better our promotion and our marketing, because it was able to communicate better what was really the Milky Way and the night sky. So light pollution doesn't only affect scientific research, as we saw, but also biodiversity, human health, energy consumption. So many millions of dollars, euros, whatever, in currency are wasted all night. But also scientific observation, as we saw, and also cultural identities. Most of us in the past used the night sky. Us, for example, we are navigators. Portugal is a country of navigators, and we use the stars to search for the other continents. So we are not more able to do that. So the night sky is becoming one of the rarest tourism resources on Earth. So it's what we are thinking of it. It's why we are working hard to protect the night sky. So we are not just developing astrotourism destinations. We have also as a mission of protecting the night sky, not only for us but international level. So why astrotourism is important for our countries with a low dense population in some areas? because combine science, nature, culture, sustainability, education, well-being, landscape, also gastronomy is important part because this is astrotourism. It's not only scientific research. Astrotourism, we have to combine everything. And also local identity. Local identity is one important part of astrotourism destination. It creates tourism with low environmental impact, that is important. For example, when we are working in tourism facilities to support astrotourism, we have to know the impact we are causing in their area. So in our cases, why it is a mission to protect the night sky? Because not only we are protecting night sky, but we are trying that our official network of partners have also low impact in all areas. So working in astrotourism is not just working with small facilities of scientific research, tourism facilities, especially for astrotourism. It's working the old destination, and the old destination have to have low impact in terms of light pollution. High emotional value. This is a really emotional type of tourism, and year-round potential. So, like you in Portugal, we have year-round potential. We have 286 nights in our area, not in all Portugal, but in our area. Premium positioning. This is a high-value type of tourism. So, high-end people that visit us to spend money in our destinations, and international differentiation. I use this because it's important to see how tourism is changing during times. People no longer travel only to see places. Usually we won't go take a picture and it's enough. Now we travel to feel something unique, especially after the pandemic situation. We need to feel, we need to bring added value from the destination, not just go there, take a picture, see and go. We have to bring something with us home. Just a little bit of Dark Sky Alcava, so for you will understand better. It's created in 2007, but when I created Dark Sky Alcava, I didn't create something for today or tomorrow. I created with a really long-term vision, 50 years. So you cannot work in sustainable tourism or creating a destination, astrotourism or another, just with a few years or medium-term vision. You have to have a really long-term vision. You have to know what is your starting point and your ending point. Of course, in planning, I'm a planner and manager in tourism, but in management and planning, we need to have the way, and we have to be able to analyze the changes and to adapt ourselves. So it doesn't mean that we started with a vision of 50 years, it will be like that for 50 years, but the way, our objective, final objective, have to be the same. We started with 6 municipalities, and now we are expanded to 13. Since 2015, we included Spanish territory, because we are a Great Lake and that in the border of Spain. It is the world's first Starlight tourism destination, so it's a certification granted by Starlight Foundation. And as we said before, we have more than 60 international tourism awards, international recognition, and strong integration between tourism science and local communities. Local communities are really part of our work. This is our territory, so this is Portugal, and this is the Dark Sky Alcava, part in Portugal, a small part in Spain. And we have an observatory, official observatory. It's not for scientific research. We do some scientific research, we do measurements of seeing, also we do solar activity, so also solar activity during the day, we have also activities. But it's an ancient local school, primary school, so we rebuild patrimony, heritage, so means that we are recovering heritage to use as an astrotourism observatory. This is the Great Lake of Alcava, a big man-made lake. So what makes astrotourism successful? It's a combination of these 5 elements. Political vision, we have to have long-term strategy and governance. Political vision is really important because it has to be part of the national strategy or regional strategy, so you can have financial support to develop the project. Without that, it will be really difficult not only for the facilities, but to have the vision as all destination and not just working with some points. Like I see now are working some points, but not with all vision. Authentic experience, emotion, storytelling, identity, but always with strong focus in quality. What makes the difference between us, that's Al-Keba, and other astrotourism destinations is that we are really focused on quality. Everything, since the accommodation, the restoration, the activities, the other experiences, not directed with the astrotourism, and our activities as astrotourism. Guides also. We have our dark sky. Miguel, for example, is astrophotographer, but also guide, stargazer guide.
Wow.
Local communities, people must benefit from the destination. With the light pollution problem, it could be, or can be, about legislation. So regional and local governments and national governments couldn't have so much knowledge about it, and it's a problem of legislation, but also a problem of local communities like we have in our region, because people like light. Light for them is development, but for us it's not development. And if they would benefit from the astrotourism process, they will see some benefit, like the local and regional government will see benefit, tourists coming, and they will request dark skies. And if you demonstrate that to your local communities, they will be the first to support that. And to, for example, in our observatory, it's in a small village, and we needed to change all the lighting, and it reduces to 10%. The whole village is reduced to 10% of the 100% of normal, just when we have our observation. So at night, when we do the observation, and when Miguel captured the night,
Night sky.
Sorry?
Night sky.
The night sky, yes. We have this reduced. So we can only do that because people think and feel that they have benefit from it. Sustainability. Tourism protects the territory and the future. It's a good type of tourism for our territory. And dark sky quality. We already talked about it, so I will not go further on it, but we need to measure, to protect, and to monitoring the continuous type of night sky we have. Astrotourism cannot be copied, it must be built from identity. So it's what I told you before, local identity is really important for making a different. The sky is almost the same, but what we have in the earth, it's different. So take advantage on it when you are building the astrotourism destination. Why Uzbekistan can become an astrotourism destination? In our point of view, because it's you still have territories with low pollution. Desert and mountain landscape, so you can combine both and have different type of landscapes. Ancient astronomical heritage. I saw the name of this building. I saw in Samarkand. I hope I will see the place. But means that you have already history on it. Means that to protect light pollution from light pollution, it's even more important because in the past used that you were known by astronomy. So it's even more important. Strong Silk Road identity, so you can take that as a local identity and push that for astrotourism. Strategic geographic position in Central Asia, so for tourism it is important to see what kind of tourists you can have. But in astrotourism, we receive many people from Asia in our territory. 25 nationalities visit us. And from America, so they have high power, financial high power, and they come to this type of infrastructure. Growing tourism ambition, that is important.
What do you need?
The Uzbekistan has interest in developing, so if you are interested in developing tourism, you have to seek the most interesting types of tourism that you wanted to develop. The ones who have more sustainability, who can join nature, well-being, and scientific research. So if you have this ambition, you have to take the most interesting types of tourism that bring you good income from outside, tourists that have a high income, and also that protect your territory. Scientific institutions linked to astronomy and space research, and we saw already some, that is important to support, for example, for measurements, for advocate for light pollution or the dark sky. So it is important to have this type of research. Just to show you, you talk about it, but see, this red Tashkent is here, so the red ones are bad places, but you have all that part that is really good and low light pollution. I imagine that is low density area, maybe with less infrastructure, but if you combine tourism and this part, you can develop some good astrotourism. We were here near Arvisoy. We had no time to go to that part, but we were here. Miguel took this picture. It just
yesterday.
Huh?
Before yesterday.
Yes, before yesterday. The conditions of the sky were not very good, but we stopped it, tried to go away from the light pollution, but it is difficult because you have many roads with lights in the middle of the rural area, so it is difficult, but we found out that thanks to Ashenbeck that was driving us during the night at 2 o'clock or something in the morning. We took this picture. It's low processing because Miguel don't usually when we take the picture, then the computer, all the information is there in Portugal. But just to present you something we had here. So the important is that we have landscape and the night sky, and that is the most important type of marketing for you as astrotourism, is to show what kind of potential you have combining both. We said from the Silk Road to the stars, it's a possibility of what you could use. It means that the potential territories, when I say territories, that you decide to join all Uzbekistan, but maybe some special territories under your country that are more suitable for it, and mixing them and certifying them. So you have to combine dark skies, desert landscapes, astronomy, heritage, traditional hospitality, scientific tourism, astrophotography, and cultural routes. So you can be the astrotourism gateway of Central Asia. That is a possibility because, as we saw in the light pollution map, we have areas with a great potential of a great night sky. Combining with other facilities and other types of tourism, you could really be a leader in this area of astrotourism. And building astrotourism requires strategy. As I said, the future of all of this that we are talking depends on political commitment. Without political commitment, it will be really difficult to have a really strategy at long term. Territorial planning, you need to plan and look to laws, rules, and so on, local rules, whatever you have. I don't know yet how it is in terms of management, territorial management, but you need to think on it to avoid situations of increasing of light pollution, because the problem, as we have in Portugal, is not, we know already what light pollution do, but we still have this problem nowadays. I started working on this in 2007, and I see that we are still in the same pattern of development. It's the most difficult part in our country, but also in other countries, because I talk with many people that are in this field, and it's still the huge problem at all nations. It's to fight light pollution. Sustainable lighting policies, it's connected. The sky quality monitoring, so we have already some, but we have to do at all country, not just one place, but to understand the quality, because as we said, we need to be the scene. You need the transparency, the scene, but also the stability of the atmosphere, air quality, because it's connected with transparency, but also the cloudless, and to understand at all country how you have cloudless nights. You know in Майданак, but we need to know in the rest of the country. As a timeline, I propose that you have to think on it, but we need to be clear and real with our expectations, and assessment and strategic diagnosis could be done still this year because we have already some people here with some good knowledge. 2027 capacity building and pilot experience. It would be interesting to understand how this is working as a destination, and consolidating international positioning in 2028. All this depends on the political commitment and the institute commitment and the capacity to do. And all of this can be pushed up if there is a real cooperation among all the stakeholders that are involved and could be involved in astrotourism, so you can be quicker or less quicker depending on the commitment. It's why I said commitment is really something, and cooperation, commitment and cooperation. The countries with potential that begin today will have a good future in astrotourism. As I said, when we started, we have to do all the way, and all the way where tourism, astrotourism was not a trend, a demand. Now it is a trend. Now we know the market, we know what works and doesn't work, so it's possible to go further and easier.
And faster.
And faster. Protecting the night sky means protecting biodiversity. You have to understand that. It's not just the sky, it's also us here. Reducing energy waste. Imagine the millions that are wasted every night, use it for other things. Tourism, social security, health, water, education. You can use it, that money. You can give other uses more beneficial for the territories. Improving quality of life, and it's, I have no time to talk about it, but strengthening scientific value, creating differentiated tourism. That is important here. You don't need to do what the others do, but you have something different. You have the sky, you have the cloudless, you still have really dark skies. Use that as a high value for your territory. And creating differentiated tourism and preserving cultural heritage. You have that heritage in the past. Just push it and make the world know the heritage you have in this field of astronomy in the past, and bring it back because it is important. And it's many, for example, we don't have this heritage in our territory. So it means that we started from the scratch. We don't have scientific research, we started from scratch. The difference between us and Chile or Canary Islands is that we started thinking as an astrotourism destination and how this could be developed for tourism. While the others think, I have scientific research, let's use it tourism. This is a different way of working. It's why we overpass the others in terms of tourism, because what scientists need, what tourists need are really, really different. So think that scientific research and facilities are important, but you have to have in mind that astrotourism is not equal to scientific structures, okay? Light pollution is not a sign of development. I'm sorry to say that, but now we have to think on it. Intelligent lighting is. So it's a very good quote that you could use to speak about with your stakeholders, that now we need to change from what we thought in the past and the myths of it, myths connected with security. More light doesn't mean security, doesn't mean that you have more development. By the contrary, because you are wasting money. You are just wasting money every night. Future travel seeks silence, also important, and you still have that. Authenticity, you still have that. Nature, emotion. You have to prepare the tourism and astrotourism with the emotion, thinking that you are giving something wow to them, not just a lesson of astronomy. You have to give them the capacity to dream, to feel something when they are looking to the sky, to see, to discover something. So it's why storytelling is very important when you are doing astrotourism. Meaningful experience, sustainability, and connection with the universe. So they need to know that they are in Earth, and between us and the universe there isn't nothing. And we are a small part of the universe. So make them feel that, and you will have the astrotourists in your hands, dreaming and feeling really that they bring something meaningful to home. Astrotourism responds to all of these desires simultaneously. So it means that you are searching that, and astrotourism can respond to that, can answer to that. Just to end, just showing our territory.
Thank you so much, Apollonia.
I'm sorry to rush, but so many years of knowledge, and I couldn't put everything here, but I'm sorry.
But you covered all my questions. If we have questions, we still have chance to ask now and after in discussion. I just want to say one comment. Like traditionally in Central Asia, because we are positioned also as a region, Kazakhstan was like leading destination and the only destination in like cosmos tourism, because they have Baikonur station, and people still have a chance to visit and to see how spaceship is like taking off. But this is very complicated issue because it's still owned by Russia. Yes, you need a lot of permissions, this, that. So, but now I see after your presentation that Uzbekistan has a chance to become a leader, because all this, by the way, among all your points necessary for development of astrotourism in both different slides, technical, in one was last one, and second slide was like before last. Yes, technical, equipment, observatories. All other points are not about observatories or astronomical. It was cultural, it was heritage, it was narrative, it was communities, it was mountains, it was deserts. So we have all technical. Okay, Baikonur is cosmodrome. Yes, we have our astronomical institutions. Guys, Uzbekistan has a potential. Really, let's do it together.
Just say something about it. The scientific research is very important, because it means if you are doing that, means the night sky is good, it have potential. But usually these facilities are not visitable by tourists.
Yeah.
You cannot go and use the telescope to look with your eye. That is the difference. So you see just screens. The facilities are interesting to visit, but you cannot go and watch with your eye. The difference, the emotion part is that when you go to these astrotourism facilities that are prepared for astrotourists with all the conditions and quality of the guides, of the equipment, and the sky, of course, you are food, yes, and accommodation, toilets and so on. That is really important. So all these facilities, you are watching and understanding the night sky you see above you, because the guide is presenting it, but you also can see the objects that are the deep sky objects that are far away, that you only can see with the telescope, but you are looking to them directly. So you are not, of course, the light is, for example, are coming from many millions of, so you are seeing the past, but even that is interesting for people that don't know about it, that you are looking to objects that light was already coming or traveling for many, many years, and you are just seeing the past, what you are looking in the present. So even this is very interesting, and you can look with your eye. For example, we have people, astronauts, and a mission guy from the Juno mission, Jupiter, and he saw for the first time Jupiter in the telescope in our observatory. Because he works with the computers, with the scientific data, but not with the objects. They are not looking to the objects. So this is the difference between astrotourism and scientific research. Of course, scientific research, if it's happening there, you need to have monitoring the night sky. And that helps the astrotourism because you can use that data to understand the quality of your night sky. And they have to advocate for decreasing light pollution because they have millions of infrastructure investment in infrastructure, and they need to continue. This is not something, if you have that kind of infrastructure, you cannot just after 2 years move it. It's not possible. So you have to advocate for light pollution decreasing. So it's your allies, but they have to understand the difference between scientific research and astrotourism development. It's something very different, okay? And the problem of many destinations with scientific research is they thought that just because they have the infrastructure, tourists will come. No, they will come if they understand, if you have a strong brand marketing. We work very hard with our strong brand, reputation. You need a reputation. So all of this together, plus the scientific research, you can combine them also in a good astrotourism destination. Sorry.
Thank you, Аполлония. Друзья, если есть вопросы, придется задать попозже, потому что мы выбиваемся из графика. И вот сейчас, после этой суперской презентации, мы переходим к другой, очень интересной презентации, очень интересного спикера, совершенно с другой вообще части света, из Кейптауна, Южная Африка. Пожалуйста, Joyful Хули, координатор флагманских проектов Офиса астрономии для развития Международного астрономического союза IAU, OAD, ну какие-то аббревиатуры, специфический лауреат премии Breakthrough Prize 2025, исследователь ЦЕРН. В центре ее работы использование астрономии как практического инструмента для решения социальных и экономических задач. Мы сейчас, кстати, говорили, да, очень хорошо поняли, что сколько, оказывается, вообще решает задач, в том числе социальные, развитие там, туризма на местах, да, местные жители зарабатывают и так далее. Joyful, we are very glad to have you with us. Please, the virtual floor is yours.
Good day, I am Dr. Joyful Mdluli. I'm with the International Astronomical Union's Office of Astronomy. Can you hear it?
Yes.
Development, and today I'll be speaking about how astrotourism can be used as a catalyst for sustainable tourism, cultural heritage, and local community development. Throughout this presentation, I have included QR codes to links to the various content that is being displayed and discussed. Feel free to scan and go to the pages to read more about the information that is shared on the slides. Challenges we face on Earth, such as poverty, inequality, education, or climate change. But astronomy is far more than the study of stars and galaxies. It inspires curiosity, creativity, and hope. It encourages young people to dream bigger. It strengthens education, connects cultures, and reminds us that we all share the same sky. In a world often divided, astronomy gives us perspective, showing us not only how small we are in the universe, but also how connected we are to one another. This recent image of the Earth taken during the last space mission to the moon shows us and reminds us that we are all part of one Earth, no borders in sight, different race, or even different economic backgrounds, just one tiny blue dot in the universe. Before I can tell you more about the Office of Astronomy for Development, I'd like to highlight the International Astronomical Union, our parent body. The International Astronomical Union is a professional body of professional astronomers made up of 13,000 professional astronomers from 85 member countries. The mission of the IAU is to promote and safeguard the science of astronomy in all its aspects, including research, communication, education, and development through international cooperation. This is also the same organization that was responsible for denouncing Pluto as a planet. The IAU is driven by 5 strategic goals, and the Office of Astronomy for Development addresses specifically goal number 3 of it, that is that the IAU is set out to transform astronomy from a purely scientific endeavor into a driver of social and economic progress. The IAU has other offices in the center that look at other strategic goals. So in addition to the Office of Astronomy for Development, there is the Office for Astronomy Outreach that looks at how astronomy can be communicated with the general public, the Office of Astronomy for Education that looks at astronomy education at secondary and university level, as well as the Office for Young Astronomers. We also have a center that is responsible for the protection of dark and quiet skies. The Office of Astronomy for Development is a joint project between the International Astronomical Union and the South African National Research Foundation that is supported by the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation. The OAD was established in 2011 and it is located in Cape Town, South Africa, hosted by the South African Astronomical Observatory. Our mission at the OAD is to help further the use of astronomy, including its practitioners, skills, and infrastructures, as a tool for development in every country by mobilizing the human and financial resources necessary in order to realize the field's scientific, technological, and cultural benefits to society. In simple, our vision is astronomy for a better world. In fact, this year, the OAD celebrates 15 years of existence. Since its establishment, the OAD has negotiated and established 11 regional offices around the world, based in Armenia, China, Colombia, Ethiopia, Jordan, the Netherlands, Nigeria, Portugal, Thailand, USA, and Zambia. And 2 of these offices serve as joint language centers, as well as one serving as a dedicated language center. I would like to highlight specifically our Southwest Central Asia Regional Office of Astronomy for Development that is hosted in Armenia. This office is responsible for carrying out the work of the OAD in the region. We work very closely with this office, with them taking lead in all of the activities carried out in the region. So what is the connection between astronomy and society? The OAD tries to encourage the astronomy community to work towards these goals through astronomy-based interventions that they execute as IAU OAD funded projects. It can be difficult to conceptualize how astronomy, an esoteric and specialized science, can contribute to the very immediate and real challenges that are facing society today. Astronomy is more than a science. It spans across disciplines, cultures, as well as technology. And it makes it a very versatile tool to address sustainable development challenges. The OAD funds and coordinates projects that aim to use astronomy to impact one or more of the UN Sustainable Development Goals, especially because we focus on development itself. It may not be obvious to everyone how these tools and methods and the content of the field of astronomy are relevant to the SDGs. However, the OAD has funded programs over the past 15 years that have addressed at least 13 of the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals so far. This image here is a global representation of where all of the projects we funded so far have taken place. So the next slide gives a summary of the impact that we have globally, and this is just a geographic representation of where the projects have been implemented. So to date, we've supported 254 projects in 111 countries, invested 1.5 million euros in those projects that have reached over 2 million people, and we've implemented 14 calls for proposals, with the 15th one currently underway. In addition to funding annual projects, we also have 3 flagship projects that fall under 3 thematic areas. The first one looks at how we can use astronomy to stimulate local economies, and this is through Astrotourism. The second thematic area looks at how we can use astronomy for mental well-being. This is through our Astronomy for Mental Health flagship project. And the third one looks at using skills development or leveraging astronomy-related expertise to address global development challenges. And this is through our Astronomy Skills for Development flagship project. So for the purpose of this presentation, I'll be focusing specifically on the OAD Astrotourism flagship project. The aim of this project is to basically leverage astronomy and tourism to drive economic growth, social inclusion, and cultural preservation. The Astrotourism flagship project is rooted in 3 pillars, and this is economic development, social inclusion, and cultural preservation, as well as environmental sustainability. When we speak about economic development, astrotourism can drive economic growth in rural and underserved communities by creating jobs such as tour guides, hospitality roles, and also boosting local businesses like accommodations and restaurants. When we look at the environmental sustainability aspect of the flagship project, it also promotes environmental sustainability, and this is through advocating for the protection of dark skies and our natural ecosystems, while also encouraging practices that minimize light pollution as well as preserving our pristine stargazing environments. And then looking at the third flagship pillar, which is the cultural preservation and the social inclusion, equality is very vital. Astrotourism celebrates cultural heritage by sharing indigenous astronomical knowledge and traditional sky stories, but it also fosters inclusivity to ensure local communities are empowered and directly benefit from tourism initiatives. Our flagship programs are structured around this thing that we call the OED flagship ecosystem. So this ecosystem basically is pillared around four key areas, which is resources, training, implementation, and community. And together, these pillars form part of a dynamic ecosystem that provides tools, knowledge, networks necessary to transform astronomy into a driver of positive change, either by individuals or communities from around the globe. So the first pillar that we look at is the astrotourism resources. So we have developed a wide range of openly accessible resources to support the global design and implementation of astrotourism initiatives around the world. These resources are intended to guide new entrants as well as existing practitioners into incorporating astronomy into their activities. In addition to these resources, we also have resources that our projects have created over the years that are available to the community at large. The second aspect of our ecosystem is the training component that looks at capacity building, which is very central to the flagship projects. It recognizes that in order for us to have sustainable growth, we require equipping individuals, communities, as well as institutions with the necessary knowledge and skills. And as such, we have created an online training course that is free of charge and open to anyone to introduce the flagship fundamentals, as well as providing practical guidance for initiative design as well as implementation. This is supplemented with in-person training that is normally co-developed with partners in order for us to sort of kind of tailor in specific needs as well as deliver it in collaboration with our partners and our regional offices. So these sessions combine both the theoretical instruction as well as the experiential learning that we cannot offer through an online training course. And then it is also then further complemented with having an online community where people can continue to further engage with each other and share knowledge as well as resources. So speaking of the community, we have an online community that is hosted on Discord that is open to anyone, whether you're from the astronomy field or the tourism sector. Basically, this community is designed to be a knowledge sharing space and a place where there's cross-sector collaboration, professional growth, as well as community building, peer learning. And it is designed for anyone who's interested in astrotourism, who is already in tourism, but also anyone who's just interested in just having astronomy and what kind of impact astronomy has in society. So everyone is welcome to join this community. It is open to everyone. But lastly, and most importantly, is the implementation of this. So one of the key ways in which we at the OED implement it has been through through the annual call for proposals. So we've supported, over the years, we've supported 17 projects and invested 100,000 euros in this astrotourism projects. So those projects have had various focuses, some looking at training, where they look at training young people to become astronomy entrepreneurs, certified tour guides, as well as adding astronomy to their portfolio. But we've also looked at how astronomy can be integrated with existing other tourism offerings like heritage tourism. So this was looking at foundational work to integrate astronomy into existing tourism initiatives. But we've also had projects that have looked at developing courses that can offer at university level so people can go into astrotourism. But we've also had a scientific tourism route that was developed in the Southwest and Central Asia region that was looking at a multi-country science tourism route that included various astronomical interests. So the map in this image basically shows where all of the OAD funded projects have taken place that are specifically for astrotourism. And in the next few slides, I'll be giving case studies of the projects that we have supported over the years. So the first project I'd like to highlight is a community-based project that was implemented in India called Astro Stays. So this project was looking at training and supporting village residents to become astro entrepreneurs. So summary of this project is that they created jobs as well as employment opportunities for the residents within the communities, but also in addition to that expanded the tourism offerings where they collaborated with existing resorts to include astrotourism as a package. And they've also engaged, during the implementation of the project, they engaged with 680 travelers from the period that the project was being implemented. But there was also a key thing, which was the education and the training part of aspect that was also delivered. In total, 30 women, village women were turned into astro guides, as well as 7 disabled persons from this project itself. Another project I'd like to highlight was one that looked at guide training in Malaysia, and I see that there are also 2 other speakers that follow me that are from Malaysia. So this project looked at training professional tour guides to add astrotourism to the portfolio. So this obviously was something that was more of an upskilling project, but in that it also created more jobs and employment opportunities, where they also had observatories partnering with astro guides to bring tourists to their facilities in Malaysia. But then it also expanded the tourism offerings, where tour companies then started introducing astrotourism into their offerings. And also, in terms of education and training, there were 2 tourism institutes that then introduced astronomy as part of their syllabus when they trained their tourism students. But also on the ecotourism part of things, they've adopted the astrotourism in 3 city councils, but also developed astro parks within Malaysia. So this is the kind of things we talk about when we talk about astrotourism, that there are various offerings that can come from them. And then the last case study I'd like to highlight is also another community-based project, and this took place in 2020. It was implemented in 2025 in a island in St. Lucia. So this looked at training young people to become astro guides, creating jobs and diversifying tourism, since this is more of a cruise focused tourism area. So from that project, they trained 12 young adults who then became astro guides and are now offering stargazing as a tourism offering within the St. Lucia area. But if we look at it on a national scale as well, I'd like to point out the South African or the African example. In this case, I mean, when we look at Africa, we possess a very rich cultural and astronomical heritage. And alongside that, we also have unexplored dark sky that is vital to economic development. So South Africa then decided, the Department of Tourism as well as the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation came together to develop the National Astrotourism Strategy and Implementation Plan that goes from 2020 to 2023 to 2033. And this is basically looking at how astrotourism can be implemented on a countrywide or a national scale. So with South Africa hosting both the Southern African Large Telescope as well as the Square Kilometre Array project, it shows that we have strong astronomy backing. So how can we then take advantage of this infrastructure and then grow the astrotourism space as well? And I'd like to also highlight that recently, early this year, we actually had a workshop that looked at how we can also intertwine astrotourism and paleontology and archaeology, and just basically create this wholesome experience and not just treat astrotourism as a single offering, but part of all of other astronomy other tourism products offerings. So at the OAD, we also have a global astrotourism survey. So this is us just trying to map out what offerings exist out there and how people can get involved and what are the best lessons, what works and what doesn't learn. So this is an ongoing initiative and the survey is open to anyone. So if you are someone out there who is doing astrotourism or is thinking about astrotourism, please feel free to complete our survey, but also look at the survey results that we have in order for you to get ideas of what is working and what is not working. And this is just a map of where all of the projects are being implemented at the moment. So I'd like to also highlight a few upcoming events that we have. So next week, Wednesday, we will be hosting an Tourism Community Exchange. So this is basically open to anyone who is already into Astrotourism, but those who are also not part of Astrotourism community yet who would like to go into this. We just want to connect astronomy, tourism, culture, and development and see how all of these things intertwine and how well they can work together. So I'd like to invite you all to join us next week, Wednesday, for this engagement. It is open to everyone. If you'd like to also give a presentation of the work that you're doing, we also welcome that. So you can just drop us an email. If you scan the QR code on this page, you will be able to get more information about the event itself. But I'd also like to highlight another opportunity, like I mentioned in the beginning of my presentation, is that the OAD has an annual call for proposals where we support various projects that look at how they're using astronomy to make a difference in society and in the communities. So this call is open and the deadline is the 31st of May. So if you are interested in submitting a proposal and you're not quite sure where to start, feel free to reach out to myself or our office, and we will be able to guide you through the proposal writing process in order for you to be able to submit a project that can be funded. So I'd like to summarize by saying that astrotourism should not be treated as a separate office. Can complement each other and create an educational experience that will stay with visitors for a lifetime. And it is also something that I'd like to highlight is that astrotourism can contribute towards sustainable tourism, towards cultural heritage, but also local community development. And in terms of how this can be translated to Uzbekistan, there are a number of ways in which this can be achieved. And this is, if we're focusing on the local community development scale, you can adopt the OED model of supporting grassroots projects in astrotourism. But if we're looking at on a national level, we can work with you very closely to connect you to the departments of tourism and the departments of science, technology, and innovation. So we're more than happy to facilitate this connection in order for you to be able to also create your own strategy and implementation plan. But also just being part of our community, our astrotourism community, we have an online community that will provide you with a platform for resources, knowledge sharing, as well as help grow the astrotourism community in general. But likely I'd also like to highlight one thing. While I've showed many images over my slides with different faces, I'd like to highlight the OED faces, the team that is based in Cape Town. And these are the faces that drive astronomy for development globally and are responsible for all of the work that we've been doing over the years. So thank you so much for your time and attention, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Joyful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us from Cape Town. We have a question. The question will be from the senior analytic of Uzbek Cosmos, Uzbek Space Agency.
Excellency, welcome one more time. Thanks for talk. And we have one question. Thanks for this presentation also. It will be great if you can share this presentation us because we are planning also opening our ecosystem in Uzbekistan. And it would be great if you can tell us a bit more briefly, shortly about OAD ecosystem, how you built it, what type of things are included, and what the projects is going now to.
Okay, so our ecosystem was basically just us trying to consolidate all of the work that we've been doing over the years. So we've basically created it into 4 pillars. So the first one looks at resources. So in order for us to be able to, because we're an office that looks at a global scale, we want our resources to be able to be available to everyone. So with every project that we support, we want other people to be able to access that. So we have resources that are available for everyone. But we also looked at the training component of things because we've had lots of people who reach out to the OED saying, how can I also start my own astrotourism initiative? While we refer them to the resources, there's always a thing of they're not quite sure where to go with it. So we decided that it's best we introduce a training component of things to support the resources and guide them in terms of creating the whole thing. And then we also looked at the community part of things. It's very important that there are people that you can actually share ideas with and also just consult with if you decide that you're not quite sure how to go about certain things. There's certain challenges that you will come across that you're not familiar with. So the community is just basically there to help people share ideas, share resources. But also, if you're looking for collaborators as well, that is a place where you can collaborate with someone from a different country, where you now have a thing of once someone has visited your place, and the next place should be the next person's place, then it sort of kind of creates like a nice adventure for tourists or visitors. And then the important part with the implementation. So I said that we have an annual call for proposals. So this is where anyone from around the world can submit a proposal, whether it is in astrotourism or anything else, basically, that looks at how astronomy can make an impact in society. But we are also looking at focused proposals that would focus on just astrotourism specifically. For example, if Fanda says that they have $1 million that they'd like to invest in astrotourism, we would then run a special call that is dedicated to just astrotourism projects, and then we would support those people who want to start their own astrotourism businesses, or maybe just grow on what they already have. So basically, that's how our ecosystem is structured: is that we have resources, training, a community, as well as the implementation part of things. So it's all just complementary to each other. So in order for you to implement, you need the resources, but then you also need the community for you to learn from each other, and then also the training to contribute towards implementing your project. So it's like a circular ecosystem that feeds into each other.
Yeah, thanks for answer. It's really interesting. I mean, 4 pillars, one of the essential things. We will be very grateful if we can collaborate with you regarding the space academy and the space ecosystem. It's really interesting also.
I'm happy to have a chat with you offline. If you haven't gotten my email, I'm happy to maybe, I don't know, you can speak to the organizer in terms of getting my email address and we can have a chat.
Yes. Sure.
Happy to see that collapse already here. And we have another question. We are very, very much run out of the time, but I cannot say no to the deputy director of Astronomical Institute of Tashkent.
Okay. Hello, Joyful. Thank you very much for the presentation. There are a lot of opportunities and very good projects we would like to join. I would like to ask a question. As an astronomer, we want to be member of EAU, and I know this is not so easy, but anyway, we would like to begin this procedure. My question is, how does the becoming member improve this kind of communication and astrotourism?
Well, from the OED's point of view, we don't require you to be part of the IAU in order for you to work with us. It's not a requirement. You're more than welcome to work with us. We open to everyone and everyone, and yeah. But in terms of the International Astronomical Union itself, I think it's just great that you're part of the international body of astronomy, where you have now the access to the different community people from the different parts of the world. But yeah, I think with the OED specifically, we don't require you to be an IAU member to be part of our community. So those are 2 separate things. And if you are looking into becoming a member of the IAU, I think that will be fantastic to have as many representatives of each country within the IAU system or the IAU community.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joyful. Thank you so much. And may I introduce the next speaker, Mr. Hafez Murza. He is waiting for his queue in our conference from Malaysia. I will introduce you, Mr. Hafez, in Russian. Основатель агентства, ведущая Академия космического образования в регионе АСЕАН, руководитель программы Artemis Generation, Malaysia, партнер НАСА и IAU. Мистер Хафез сделал космос доступным для молодежи Малайзии и готов рассказать, как это работает применительно к астротуризму. Please go ahead, Mr. Хафез.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for the invitation. Yeah, I would like to share with you what we are doing. So today I'm going to share about the rise of astrotourism, connecting tourism, education, and global space economy. So before I start, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Hafez Murza. I am the founder and CEO of the I know it's hard to say, it's actually a Malay word, but we simplify it to ADL Space Academy. So we can call it ADL Space Academy. So yeah, right. So I'm the CEO and the founder of ADL Space Academy. So today we are going to touch about astrotourism and how we support astrotourism in Malaysia. All right. So before we start about the astrotourism, let me introduce our academy. So ADL Space Academy is focusing on talent development in the country, and now we are focusing also for the region of Southeast Asia. So the main focus is to create curiosity and then lead them to be interested in science, mostly in STEM and also in space or in astronomy. So for us, upper di langit means what in the sky. So what is actually the curiosity word where most of the youngsters are asking when they look at the sky. So we make it into one brand named Apa di Langit, mean what in the sky, Space Academy. All right. Okay, to start with, this is me. I'm the founder and CEO. I'm also part of the teacher liaison by the Space Foundation, recently been recognized by the Space Foundation. Part of this UNOSA for the expert team members. I'm also subgroup for the IAU, Diversity and Inclusion 2024, National Coordinator for the Universe Awareness from Leiden University, and I have about 8 years experience in space education and outreach around the country. All right. Okay, so our impact that has been created is about, since the beginning of establishment of our academy, we've reached about 180,456 students around the country. And we also leading for the Artemis generation, the first and only project that been related to the Artemis generation. We work closely with the USMBC and also with NASA. So currently in Malaysia, we have 8,000 and now also reached to Singapore, Brunei, and also coming soon in Philippines in August, and also in October will be in Bangkok, Thailand. We do a lot of space citizen science project. Currently, we have about 973 citizen scientists that work for us together to gather data and also to analyze data. And as you see, all the 3 flags, we are already there in Malaysia, Singapore, and Philippines. And soon we'll be in Thailand as well. All right. So what we are doing, we are focusing on 3 main focus here. You can see we are teaching about space science and astronomy. Also included inside it is the Islamic astronomy. We call it as Ilmu Falak. We also teach about space technology, space engineering, robotics, satellites, rovers. And we also have space and AI, where we teach our youngsters. We work collaboratively with IBM and numbers of AI platform providers for the space and digital for AI. And how do we do it? We have a lot of space camp. We have a lot of online activities and also physical activity, where I would like to share with you all the photos right now. So you can see here, these are some of our online programs. I mean, we have a lot of students. We have online, we go to schools, we travel around the countries. And this is for young kids where they are 4 to 6 years old with the kindergarten, very cute one. And we go to school, as you see, we do sun observation, night observation as well. And we also send up the CanSat to the atmosphere, stratosphere for our youngsters, normally our high school students to, track the data and also to learn about satellite and technology as well. So this is a part of it. So before I go into the astrotourism, okay, so this one is, I mentioned just now, the recent recognition by the teacher liaison from the Space Foundation. So it allows us to connect with all the space education players around in States and also in Europe. So I think this is also a big thing that I think for us, we can utilize all the facilities and also collaboration with them. All right. And these are our collaborators. We have numbers of universities here. After this, our professor will also share about our project and our research from the UKM. We work with our MOSTI, Ministry of Science and Technology, space agencies around in Malaysia, our government of high-tech group, Space Industry Consortium, because we are part of the Space Industry Consortium in terms of talent development for the country, with Thailand from Astronomical Institute of Thailand, also with International Training Center of Astronomy in Thailand, and also with IAU. We work closely with Japan, where the outreach HQ is there, and from Naoje, Japan, where we do a lot of citizen science project together with the Subaru telescopes, and I am also part of Citizen Science NASA, where I was invited by NASA for the numbers of meetings. So we also work together with the industry partners numbers of space company in Malaysia and also globally. All right. So go back to the astrotourism. First of all, we need to understand what actually happening in Malaysia and what is actually Malaysia all about. So Malaysia is a developed country where most of the kids or more of the people are focusing on devices where they look, horizontally to the devices. And at the same time, because we are developing, we have an issue for light pollution. I mean, in Uzbekistan, I believe you are lucky because we have a lot of, dark sky area and you can look at the sky beautifully full of starry night. But in Malaysia, there's a big thing that, we don't have. And we understand this become like a challenge for us to attract our youngsters to look at the sky because they don't see any interesting thing to look at. So to go that, I would like to go directly to our issue here. All right. Okay, let's go to the Malaysia. This is Malaysia. If you don't know where it's actually located. So we are closer to the equator. And above us is Thailand. Down here to the south is Australia. Above us is China and India. So we're almost equator, almost like Indonesia. But when you're living in the equator, the challenges is, and as a developed country, this is Kuala Lumpur. So we have a lot of light pollution around the country, where I would like to share with you later after this the light pollution map. And in the country, in the tropical area, most of our land is covered by the forest. When you look at the forest, it's very nice. It's important because it gives us oxygen. But at the same time, you can see the fog is there. It's hard to build the telescope observatory where the humidity is very high. And you can't see the night sky from the forest because it's covered by the forest itself. So even though when we go out, closer to the beach, the challenge is, we have people who go for fishing, and this is not aurora actually. These people who go to find the squid. So they use a green lamp to attract the squid, and then they catch it. So that is our challenges from the west side of Malaysia, because when they look for the squid, they're going to be like a green area where people are looking for the squid. So you don't have, opportunity to look at the sky, even for the stars to appear in our sky. And to go to the east side, we are popular with oil and gas, where we have a lot of oil rigs. So, when we have oil rigs, a lot of light also cover the area, the horizon. So it's hard for us to look at the stars and to have that beautiful night sky. So there's a big challenges for. This is our light pollution map. So all this is Malaysia. You can see covered by the light pollution. We don't have very dark area where we can go to look at the sky. But at the end of the day, as a education institute for space and astronomy, we believe that we need to do something, how to attract youngsters and public to be interested with astronomy, and also to go to the place where they can look at the beautiful night sky. Something that maybe other people take it for granted. For us, it become like very important because we couldn't see what our ancestors or our grandfather, grandmother have before, because our sky is fully light polluted. So that's why we have numbers of activities, as mentioned just now by the IIU, to train some of the tourist guide to propose and to do astrotourism. But at the end of the day, despite of the challenges of light pollution and be in the location equator, we have a lot of cloud as well. So even though we have like a best place to look at the sky and stars, our sky almost be in cloud. So today, this is the map of cloud today, 21st of May, 2 p.m. So you can see the whole Malaysia is covered by cloud. So that's why a reason for us is a big challenge to do long observation and to take a nice, beautiful pictures or photo for astrophotography, because we always been covered by this one, and we always pray that the cloud goes away when we have a big important I can say phenomena in space. All right, I see this is what I tell you just now. All right, so what we do for our youngsters to be participated, to attract them to look at the sky and involve in astrotourism. First is to organize numbers of events related to the astrotourism or light pollution, to create an awareness. So we create an awareness about astrophotography, to do a bottle scale competition for them to work on. So they will go out and take photo of their, location at night and share with us what they see, and they will have to tag what are the bottle scales in their location. I know it's hard to go and get number of first bottle scales, not even number 4, maybe the 7 or 5, but we're happy that they know this is because of the light pollution. This is how we create awareness and we teach them about light pollution. All right. At the same time, we do a lot of awareness. We have our own website talking about the importance of the dark sky, where we share, and also we translated the IAU light pollution brochures, and we share it to the public, and also we put it in our website and we disseminate it publicly so people can understand what is actually light pollution and how it impacts our daily life. And at the same time, even though we can't look at our starry night sky, we use our nearest stars, a sun, to do our citizen science project to attract them to the astronomy and also astrotourism. First is to do like a equinox and solstice project where they go out and take a photo of during the equinox and solstice. So you can see, you know, the sun is moving when they rise and set during solstice and equinox. So we have numbers of photos shared by our communities and students where they go and take these photos at their hometown. And at the same time, we relate it to the culture because, you know, when we don't see any stars or even the Milky Way above in our sky, we need to do something. In our culture, we have a team named Bima Sakti. Milky Way is known as Bima Sakti in the region. We use the same name for Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Brunei. We use the same term, Bima Sakti, as the Milky Way. You know, it doesn't look like a milk for us. It's actually a story from Mahabharata scripture. So we use it for our storytelling using puppet shadow activities where we work together with numbers of cultural activities so our youngsters can understand true arts and culture. So we have actually a video, but I don't think I would like to play the video. It's going to be long, but this one look interesting. Yeah, this one. This is shadow puppet. This is how we tell a story about the dark sky. It's actually coming from here.
Tergabung landing kapal terbang kapal boleh tahan ni. Aeroplane. I think the aeroplane.
All right, okay. I think that's all. I mean, you can watch it. We have a long video about it. I think the challenge is about time, but it's also shared in our social media, Asian tourism products, where we use our culture thing to, attract people to look at the sky through the culture that we have locally. It's surprisingly that a lot of our Malaysian or within the region doesn't know where the Bima Sakti terms coming from. So this is how we share our knowledge. And at the end of the day, we also work with Pahang, where our lecturer after this, Prof. Rozia, we share about our activities and also research. And this is where our one state in Malaysia has considered Amazing Sky become a part of the Astrotourism project, where they gazetted an area because this is where our reserve forest is located. And this is where we work together with the Malaysia Inbound Tourism Association, where we bring all our tourists to visit Pahang and numbers of sites in Malaysia to do astrotourism. So we do it top and down strategy to make sure that everybody knows actually what happened in the country is about the tourism. So see, these are some of the photos I think that we get from Pahang area about Milky Way. And this one is where the highest location in Cameron Highland. This is a place where people plant tea. So even though we still have like a light pollution down here, but you still can able to get this Milky Way. And it's only for a few hours before all the fog, surrounded the area, all right? So this is at the beach of Pahang as well. You can see the coconut tree and also the Milky Way up there, all right? So I guess at the same time, I think this one is the last one. At the same time, to attract people, for Malaysia, they look to have something. What we do is to promote everyone who would like to have a telescope, because we can't see starry night sky, but at least we can see a moon. So we promote a telescope, every one house, one telescope, where we get it from China and numbers of the countries. So there's a campaign at the end of the day, because, in Malaysia, sometimes they have like a hobby to cycle, so they buy a bicycle. So we also promote telescopes so they can have a telescope at home. So we have like a one house, one telescope. We have numbers of mini observatory in the country where everybody have like a observatory at their home. And we also bring our community out to the streets, learn and share about astronomy. At the same time, we do like a workshop, telescope workshop. online and physical. So this is some of the photos. We have our platform where our communities and also public can share their astronomy photos, and they can learn something from it, because we are also including science and also mathematics and physics in the astronomy, our astronomy project. All right, I think the time is not, we don't have much time for it. For us, when people reconnect with the sky, they begin to reconnect with the curiosity, because our essence is the curiosity, nature, and also humanity itself. So I think that's all from me. Thank you so much. All right. So I think I would like to open for questions.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Dr. Mukhtar. Thank you so much. Very interesting presentation. Thank you. We are applauding you. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can see the hands.
Hafez, one question.
Yeah.
So you pay a lot of attention to youth, yes, to come to this astrotourism as a profession, yes, and you mentioned curiosity as important feature, yes, for people to go first, maybe to go like to be interested in this topic, yes, and after make it a profession, yeah. Can you advise us some practical, like share some practical advice how to gravitate more people to guiding, to making astrotourism services? Because, for instance, if it is in my childhood, like 40, 45 years back, I'm sure many people will immediately go, you know, if there is a like call for astrotourism guides, for instance. But unfortunately, now guiding is not that that prestigious profession. But can we make astrotourism guide? Can we make it the same prestigious like cosmonaut profession? Because now we are in the epoch of service industry. Yeah, and share, please share any insights that you can, like which we can implement in our practice to prepare more people for professionals to be guides, to be tour operators in this area.
All right. Okay, thank you. I have 2 points here. First, why I will focusing on youth and young people. In data that we have in Malaysia from our research and also studies, I mean, when our youngsters ask their parents to go or visit something, normally parents will bring them. And kids always be like something important for parents. It's actually important for parents when they want to learn, they want to visit something for something, to learn something. Normally parents will bring them to that location. If they want to look at the star at the same time, parents also want to learn something. We can see parents will bring their students to that location, or go into astronomy or any space facilities that in Malaysia or any other countries. So that's what we see when the students become the entry point where they want to learn. Usually parents will pay and will bring them where they want to go. So we have one thing. The second thing, I think the most important part for us, we always focus on the science communication part, the way how the message has been communicated. The chocolate from the last year or 30 years ago is always the same like today. The only thing that changed is the cover of the chocolate. I mean, we can differentiate numbers of chocolate because of the covers of the chocolate. The content is the same because the fundamental of science is always the same. Content of astronomy is always the same. The discoveries, the only thing that changes is discoveries. But at the end of the day, the way how it be presented is important. When we're dealing with the youngsters, the new generation of parents, new generation, there must be a different way how we use from different, years or different era. So we change based on the way how we communicate. So that one will be much more important. We also work together with the IIU because IIU has like a communicating astronomy to the public. I think that's very important because it always updates us how to communicate to the public very well. Yeah, we do have a lot of resources, researchers, everything, but we don't know how to communicate. We don't attract people to go to the places or to build a new generation that love astronomy or even astrotourism. So I think that is very important for us. That's how we focus on to make sure that people interested into astronomy, astrotourism, and also into the space technology as well. So I think there's 2 things important now. That's the only thing that I think we can work together as well. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I may invite our next and last speaker for today. Сэмюэл Ньянги, астрофизик и аналитик космической отрасли организации Space in Africa, ведущий аналитической платформы по африканскому космическому туризму, сектору даже. Сэмюэль привносит в нашу дискуссию перспективу, которую редко слышат в Центральной Азии. Как выглядит развитие астротуризма, когда строишь его с нуля на развивающемся рынке, и что из этого применимо к Узбекистану? Сэмюэль, we are glad to have you with us.
Thank you, Mr. Michael. Salam, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Samuel Nyangi. It's a pleasure to be here. So thank you, everyone, to the Tourism Development Institute of Uzbekistan for this opportunity. Zarina, Michael, thank you very much. So maybe a little bit about myself. I do have a background in astronomy and astrophysics, and that's why I'm here talking about astrotourism. I also led the development of East Africa's first astrotourism curriculum. So it's a full 9-day curriculum where we train local tour guides on astronomy and dark sky tourism. I was also part of the expert committee under the Ministry of Tourism here in Kenya, where we launched the first astrotourism initiative in Kenya. And I'm also a very passionate stargazer. So anytime I have some few minutes to go look at the stars, that's what I will go to do out at night. And I'm now working as an industry analyst at Space in Africa. So I'm sure we've all been told what astrotourism is, and I wouldn't like to repeat this, but again, astrotourism focuses on the night sky and also astronomical events, and it includes a lot of activities such as stargazing, observing celestial events such as, lunar eclipses, solar eclipses, meteor showers, asteroids, and all that. And the goal ideally for astrotourism for any community should be to position astrotourism as a premier destination all over the world to leverage the dark and night skies. Because, for example, when we are talking about wildlife tourism, you have to leverage the wildlife in your country. But for you to leverage astrotourism, you need to have dark and quiet skies that you can leverage to deliver a very immersive and memorable experience. Now, I'll talk a little bit about why Uzbekistan is good for astrotourism according to my research. And I think one of the few presenters earlier today said there are clear desert and mountain skies. It was, I think there was the name of that mountain. I don't know, it was Майданак or something. So there's already potential. There's already the geography favors Uzbekistan, because the clearer your skies are, the better you can observe the night sky. And that only happens, in areas like the desert. Number two, there are areas of little to no light pollution in Uzbekistan, and I'll show you a map shortly of that. Lastly, there's also something that Uzbekistan will be building upon. They are not starting from scratch. We've had a rich history of like the Silk Road astronomical heritage. We have a lot of Islamic Golden Age astronomy legacy, and Uzbekistan is also very vibrant in astrotourism. So very vibrant in the general tourism ecosystem, and it's sad that I wasn't there with you physically to experience this, but it's good that the country already has a vibrant tourism. So that means astrotourism will just fit very well into this ecosystem. Next, I think being near to markets such as the Europe and Asia, that means the people that will benefit from this astrotourism as visitors are already there. So I think that's also a good position to be in. So just some numbers on the global astrotourism sector. This is what I do for work. So here are some of the figures. So the global astrotourism market right now is valued at $1.18 billion globally in 2025. And the key question when you see this number as government officials in Uzbekistan, the key question is, as Uzbekistan, how much of this 1.18 billion can come to Uzbekistan from astrotourism? So that is the key question. And of course, it's a sector that is growing every single year by 12%. And some of the activities we've mentioned, stargazing, we've mentioned astronomical events, but the number one activity that is generating a lot of revenue is stargazing. People just going to parks, observing the night sky with telescopes. That is what is generating the most revenue. And of course, I've listed down here some of the, as I've said, Uzbekistan is not starting from scratch, which is a very good thing. some of these features already presented by one of the presenters earlier in the morning, where there is already infrastructure in place that the government can leverage to create a memorable astrotourism experience. So why is this astrotourism important? And I'm really trying to rush because of time. So number one, visitor spending potential. When you have a tourist coming from Europe or the US, they might spend the whole day looking at historical tour sites, mountains and all that, but what are they doing at night? It's a very important question. So the number one benefit of astrotourism is that the visitor can spend more, because during the day they might look at other things, but during the night they are spending their time on astrotourism. So that means hotels can charge more, the government can generate more revenue just from astrotourism. Number two, off-season tourism benefits. In wildlife here in Kenya, we usually say like there's a certain season where the wildlife is, you can see more wildlife than the other. But that's not the case with astrotourism, because astrotourism, you can see things all year round. January, March, June, February, you can see all sorts of astronomical phenomena. That means there is no off-peak season in something like astrotourism, which is a good thing. And one thing that Joy also said in her presentation is that astrotourism really benefits the rural communities. Season. Because, for example, in wildlife here in Kenya, we usually say if you want to see the most wildlife, come from July to September. But from astrotourism, that is not the case, because you can see things from January to June to December. You'll always have something in the sky to look at. And thirdly, I was also saying about there's a presentation that Joy made and said that we can, benefit from rural tourism development. That is something that astrotourism really does. Number four, hotel occupancy extension. Guests can stay longer in hotels because they want to view the night sky, which is an added benefit for the tourism industry. And then lastly, as our colleague from Malaysia has also presented, there's a lot of employment opportunity for the youth. So this is just a picture of the world's dark skies in terms of satellites. And as you can see, maybe one thing I can point out, all these are customers. If you see a light polluted area like this, this is the Eastern USA. All these are customers for astrotourism. The whole of Europe are customers for astrotourism because their night skies are not good enough to have the best astrotourism experiences. And then I think, of course, we have Uzbekistan somewhere here. India is also a customer for astrotourism. China are very good customers for astrotourism. So these are the markets that the Tourism Development Institute can start exploring and to generate some of these customers. So as you can see, Uzbekistan also has some areas that have dark and quiet skies that can really be leveraged for astrotourism. So the country is at a good position as well. So on to the last parts of my slide. So what can be done? Number one, also as Joyful has presented in her presentation, astrotourism can be complemented into the already tourism portfolio. So we have a lot of culture in Uzbekistan, a lot of heritage. So the government can add astrotourism as another pillar. Number two, I can see there's already infrastructure in Uzbekistan. So what the government can do is leverage those infrastructure, the astronomy observatories, the dark sky lodges, and continue building capacity. Because it's not, when a guest comes from outside Uzbekistan, maybe from the US or Europe, they need someone to walk them through the night sky, tell them this is a star, this is a planet, and interpret it in the local context. Lastly, the most important bit of my presentation that I want to leave you is when we are talking about astrotourism, the biggest pillar that will make astrotourism a success is how you integrate astrotourism with the culture. Because it's not enough for a visitor to come from another country and you tell them that's a constellation called Orion. Because Orion comes from the Greek culture, but what we want to see is what did the Uzbek people say about Orion? What did the Uzbek people say about the moon? And that is the richest part of an astrotourism program. Lastly, of course, leveraging geographic and climate that I've already talked about. And then, of course, as I've said, astrotourism is an all-year activity. So you can have activities in January, in March, in April. So that's something to look at. Yeah, so these are some of the photos from our training sessions. We train guides how to use telescopes. We train them how to speak. And this was something that the our presenter from Malaysia talked about, you need people, you need to train them how to speak, because science communication is a skill that you learn. And then lastly, we also train people from the Tourism Development Institute on how to market, because for you to market a product, you need to know what it is. So we also train tour guides. Apart from tour guides, we also train admin and salespeople for them to realize what astrotourism is, what the market is, and what do you say when you market astrotourism. Lastly, I think I'll leave you with their quote. So as travelers seek unforgettable and share the experiences, astrotourism stands out, and Uzbekistan too can rise as a global astrotourism destination. So that is my presentation. Thank you very much, everyone, and I'm happy to take questions.
Samuel, many thanks. So great sharing of Africa experience. I have a question. You showed us a map of like destinations. Oh no, I think it was previous speaker. Yes, a map of astrotourism destinations, which was very looking like Silk Road map. Yeah, from Malaysia to Europe. Yeah. Do you have any advice on how to cooperate in this area more effectively with neighboring countries? Because you know what is the problem of any tourism development at any country? Countries are trying to develop tourism themselves, separately from the neighboring countries. Yeah, and but people who visit, especially from long-haul destinations, yes, they always want to visit few countries of any region. How can we use astrotourism as a glue, yeah, for several destinations, for several countries, to become like one product? So people come, people visit, people learn about culture, about gastronomy, about history, but they also learn about sky from different locations. Yeah. Do you have any kind of example from Africa which you can share with us?
Thank you, Michael. So one thing I think we've seen that really unites different countries in terms of astrotourism is there is always a common story about the sky that people from a certain community say. So for example, we collected astrotourism stories from Southern African countries, and I know Dre is here and knows about this. So for example, when you look at the moon in ancient Africa, this is what the Botswana said, this is what the South African said, this is what the Zambian said. And when you collect that, you can sell it as a product and say, we are telling the African story. Yes, we are Kenya, but we are telling you as a tourist, this is what the South African said. As a Kenyan, we are telling you this is what the Zambian said. And I think that's a model that can also be replicated outside Uzbekistan, where you can gather all the countries around Uzbekistan, collect the stories of what the people used to say astrotourism was. Did they interpret the moon as their mother? Did they interpret the moon as their father? When you collect all these stories together, you can sell it as one product, not as this is what the people of Uzbek say, but this is what the people of our region say about the night sky. And I think that's something that has worked, and I think can also work there.
Okay, thank you so much. And one more question, if no more questions from the audience. We have different core products. Here in Uzbekistan, our main anchor core product is history, yes, historical buildings. Let's say like this. I think you are in Kenya, your main product is natural assets, yeah? Of course, cultural assets, local culture, it's always there at any tourism, at any country, but the core product is different. So how do you manage? Okay, we have some benefits, as was mentioned before. We have even Ulugbek, the great astronomer of medieval times, yes. So we have some narrative. You are in Kenya selling same astro tours combined with natural assets. So what can you say in this point? Yeah, what you can share with us, because we also have ecotourism development priorities. And your experience can be very useful. Yeah, sorry.
Maybe one thing I can say is that the best way to work with such a diverse tourism portfolio is we can market specific seasons around specific things. So for example, if I'll use the Kenyan example. So in Kenya, for example, when you have the wild beast migration, that happens around September. At that point, our goal is to market Kenya as a wildlife tourism destination. So astrotourism is there, yes, but what we are focusing now in that season is developing that wildlife tourism. And in another season, maybe in March or in April, when you have a lunar eclipse, that is what we'll market as a country. You can come and observe this astrotourism experience. Not that the wildlife is not there, but it's not the best season to market the wildlife when you have a lunar eclipse. So I think that's also the same thing that maybe I can advise. If there's maybe a certain period of time that guests really come to the country alone to just observe the historical sites, use that and leverage that to market that. But when it's a different season where you guys want to market astronomical events or astrotourism, then you can package it around a certain season so that you can also attract the maximum number of tourists for both scenarios.
Thank you, Samuel. Again. So here,
thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone.
Here is our last point, and I would like to thank our audience, our participants. Thank you for helping, for supporting us with your questions. And this is very first, but not last, I hope, meeting on this very sensitive and very important point for us. So astrotourism, we realize this is not only great abstract potential, this is very tangible potential for us in Uzbekistan. So let's develop our astrotourism locally and let's cooperate and develop it globally. Thanks to all our distinguished speakers and our audience. So here we finish.
Далее выступление ведущего специалиста агентства Узбек-Космос.
Узбек-Космос agentligi ko'pchilik xabari bor, ba'zilar xabari yo'q. 2019-yil tashkil topgan O'zbekiston Respublikasi Prezidenti Shavkat Mirziyoyev tomonidan. To'g'ri boshida oz-moz qiyinchiliklar bo'lgan, ba'zilar bizlardan kosmosga odam chiqadimi, bizlardan kosmonavt chiqadimi degan har xil fikrlar bo'lgan, ba'zilar e'tirozlar bildirgan. Davlat tashkilotlar o'rtasida ham ozgincha tortishuvlar bo'lgan, bizga hali erta, biz hali qila olmaymiz degan. Lekin hamma narsani avvalambor boshlab olish qiyin bo'lgan edi. Bizlardan avvalambor boshlab olish qiyin bo'lgan, lekin mana hozirgi kunga kelib deyarli ko'pchilik davlat tashkilotlari, ko'p aholimiz bu haqida xabar topdi. Mana xabaringlar bor, bizda hozir loyihamiz bor. 2028-yil O'zbekistonda birinchi bo'lib O'zbekiston o'zini kosmonavtini fazoga uchiradi. Hozir bu bo'yicha tanlov ketyapti. Maxsus davlat komissiyasi tuzilgan bu bo'yicha. Agar xohishchilar bo'lsa, sizlar ham topshirishingiz mumkin. O'zining kriteriyasi bor. Misol uchun bo'yi 1.60 dan past bo'lmasligi kerak, sog'lig'i, vesi, tibbiy tomondan. Bu tomonni o'zlaringiz sinab ko'rishingiz mumkin. Endi bizlarda hozir nima ketyapti? Imенно sizlarning yo'nalishdagi emas, ta'lim yo'nalishiga emas. Узкосмос agentligi yoshlarni qo'llab-quvvatlash uchun ko'plab chet el universitetlar bilan hamkorlik olib boryapti, ya'ni research ko'plab izlanishlar olib boryapti va hozirgi kunga kelib top quest reytingida top 100 taga kirgan 6 ta universitet bilan hamkorlik qilamiz va undan tashqari O'zbekiston bo'yicha 22 ta desa ham bo'ladi, 22 ta universitet bilan hamkorlikda O'zbekistonning turli viloyatlarida UNICEF degan turli tadbirlar tashkillashtirib kelyapmiz. Undan tashqari Istanbulda yozgi lager tashkil qilib kelmoqdamiz har yili. Bu hammasi Узкосмос tomonidan tashkil qilayotgan narsalar. Endi turizm tomoniga ko'proq bog'laydigan bo'lsak, bugungi tematikamiga bog'laydigan bo'lsak, bizda shunaqangi bir yangi texnologiya bor. Yangi texnologiyani biz AI bilan integratsiya qilganmiz. Ya'ni qanaqa oddiy soda tilda tushuntiradigan bo'lsam, misol uchun mahallamizda допустим mana Odil aka degan odam bor. Odil akani 30 gektar yeri bor dalada. Endi 30 gektar yerida nima qiladi u odam? Bir yil oldin mana hamma biladi, dehqonchilik qilgan, kartoshka ekmoqchi yoki piyoz ekmoqchi. Qaysi piyoz ekmoqchi? agar o'sha odam kosmosga murojaat qilsa, biz ularga nima qilib bera olamiz? Ya'ni любой fermer kelyapti-da, mana shunaqa joyim bor, mana bu joylashgan edi, biz o'sha joyga snimkasini olamiz osmondan. O'sha kosmosdan turib, bizning o'zimizning radarlarimiz bor, 15 santimetrda yaqinlikda oladi, 3 metrlikda oladi. Shu radar orqali biz snimka olamiz-da, o'sha odamga yetamiz. Mana bu joy sizniki. Bu joyda biz AI bilan integratsiya qilingan, u joyda biz yerni hosildorligini aniqlab beramiz. Ya'ni shu joyga misol uchun siz qaysi poliz ekinni ekmoqchi bo'lsangiz, misol uchun допустим karom ekmoqchi bo'lsangiz, karom successful case bo'lishi 80%, 20% fail bo'lishi mumkin. Kartoshka ekmoqchi bo'lsangiz, bu yerda yer unumdorligi yuqori, siz bu yerga kartoshka ekishingiz mumkin. 90% siz muvaffaqiyatli hosilga ega bo'lasiz. Shunga o'xshagan narsa qilib beramiz. Bu agriculture, ya'ni qishloq xo'jaligi sohasida. Endi turizm sohasida gapiradigan bo'lsak, misol uchun bizda Samarqand, Buxoro, только Samarqand, Buxoro, Toshkentda ham boshqa O'zbekiston bo'yicha hamma viloyatlarda ko'plab tarixiy obidalarimiz bor. Biz nima qilib bera olamiz? Turizm qo'mitasi bilan hamkorlikda hozir shuni переговор ketyapti, ya'ni shu loyiha ustida ishlayapti. Biz nima qilib bera olamiz? Tarixiy obidalarni biz o'sha kosmosdan turib snimka qilib beramiz-da, tarixiy obidalarda bo'layotgan o'zgarishlarni turizm qo'mitasiga xabar beramiz. Mana bu misol uchun qaysidir tarixiy obidani mana bu joyda ko'chish bor, shu joyda siljish bor, yoki mana bu tarixiy obida turgan joyda yer silkinishlar bor, yoki yer qimirlashi bor. Shu joyda maxsus komissiya tuzib, shu joyda ko'proq e'tibor beringlar deb biz AI bilan hamkorlik, AI bilan integratsiya qilingan platformamizda shu kerakli tashkilotlar bilan xuddi shuni yo'lga qo'yishimiz mumkin. Undan tashqari bizda hozir juda ham ko'p loyihalarimiz bor. Hozir prezentatsiyamizda hammasini aytib o'tamiz. Bizning moderatorimiz aytganlaridek, hozirda Kosmos agentligi yetakchi flagman sifatida tan olingan, ya'ni yoshlar innovatsiya va ilmiy izlanishlar bo'yicha. Yangi O'zbekiston universiteti haqida eshitgansizlar. Yangi O'zbekiston universiteti Kosmos agentligi bilan hamkorlikda mana bu yildan birinchi o'zini bakalavr yo'nalishini ochdi aerospace bo'yicha. Ularda ingliz tili bo'ladi. Biz o'zimiz ular bilan hamkorlikda Koreyani eshitgan bo'lsanglar, top 100 ga kiruvchi Kayseri universiteti bor. Mana buni kecha memorandum imzoladik, yo'da professor olib kelamiz va Germaniya bor, MIT universitetlari bor. Shu universitetlar bilan hamkorlikda biz Yangi O'zbekiston universitetiga yangi professor olib kelyapmiz. Shu yangi loyihalarni, yangi yo'nalishlarni yana ham yaxshiroq va effektivroq yo'lga qo'yish harakatlarimiz. Bu bizani hozirgi kungacha 2025-yilda, ya'ni o'tgan yilda qilingan amalga oshirgan loyihalarimiz. Kosmik oromgoh, bu kosmik oromgohga biz hamma talabalarni qabul qila olamiz. Kosmik oromgoh nima qiladi? 15 kun, 10 kun biz o'zimiz olib boramiz, o'zimiz olib kelamiz va o'sha kosmik oromgohda agar yoshlarning o'zini proyekti bo'lsa, bizlar mentorlarimiz bo'ladi, texniklarimiz, ular bilan hamkorlikda yangi innovatsion loyihalar qilish mumkin. O'sha loyihalarni qilsa, bizga olib kelsa, biz ularga byudjet ajratib beramiz. Ya'ni tegishli xalqaro donorlar orqali biz ular loyihasini moliyalashtirib beramiz. Hop, konsert loyihasi haqida xabaringiz bormi, nimaligi o'zi? Ya professorlarimiz biladi, yoshlar. Bilasizlarmi konsert nimaligini? Eshitganmisizlar? Mana ko'pchilik eshitgan bo'lsa kerak. Hop, konsert bu raketa, faqat mini raketa. O'sha katta osmonga uchirilgan raketani lyuks kopiyasi bo'ladi. Mana konsertni uchirilishini ko'ryapsizlar. O'rtacha bir yerdan o'zi ichida mexanizm bo'ladi. Mexanizmga qo'shilib konsertga biz parashyut ulab qo'yamiz. O'zining ichida gadjeti bo'ladi, texnikasi, o'shani biz buni o'sha parkentda o'zimizning joyimiz bor, Toshkent viloyat parkentda, chetroq joyda. Uni biz uchiramiz, osmonga uchiramiz, o'rtacha bir 5-6 kilometr osmonga uchadi va yana parashyut ochilib, yerga qaytib tushadi. Bu nima deydi, o'zimizning yoshlardan kelib chiqqan inisiativa. Bu Turkiya bilan, Kanada universitetlari bilan hamkorlikda shu loyihani yo'lga qo'yganmiz va mana har yili konsert loyihasini olib boramiz. Hop, UNICEF, ya'ni bu UNICEF bilan birga qilgan ishimiz, shuning uchun biz buni UNICEF deganmiz. UNICEFda mana STEAM ta'lim dasturini yo'lga qo'yganmiz. Bu faqatgina qiz bolalar uchun. Ya'ni biz o'sha davlat siyosati dasturidagi STEM ta'lim dasturi va gender tengligini olg'a surgan holatda biz xuddi UNICEF bilan hamkorlikda UNICEF loyihasini yo'lga qo'yganmiz. Bu ham misol uchun hamma qiz bolalar uchun ochiq, kimda qiziqish bo'ladigan bo'lsa, kimning o'z loyihasi bo'ladigan bo'lsa, qachon kim o'zim qatnashmoqchiman, ko'rmoqchiman o'zim ko'zim bilan desa, bemalol qatnashish mumkin. Bu ham hamma uchun ochiq. Hop, Mission Moon bizni hozir mana hot bo'lib turgan loyihamiz. Mission Moon shu oyda oxirida loyiha tasdiqlanib, o'sha bu tasdiqlanib protsessga o'tib ketadi, jarayonga o'tib ketadi. Buni Mission Moon loyiha proyekti o'zimdan chiqqan. Bu qanaqa? Bu Mission Moon asosan bog'cha va maktabdagi boshlang'ich bolalarga bu telefonda o'yin bo'ladi. Mana Clash of Clans o'ynaganmiz yoki hamma kontrol o'ynaydi. Bu yoshlarni kosmik sohaga qiziqtiruvchi o'yin. Ya'ni bize bolaga 10 ta kosmik alohida kitob qo'yganmiz, u 85% o'qimaydi. Yoki adam gapiryaptilar, onam gapiryaptilar, shuni o'qib qo'ydi. O'qib qo'yish mumkin. Lekin baribir miyasida qolmaydi. Lekin Mission Moon предложенияsi bilan shu предложенияni yuklab olib, shu o'ynab borsa, u yerda o'zini loyihani qarab chiqadi, ma'lumotlar chiqadi. Misol uchun konsert haqida, kosmik loyihalar haqida, oy haqida, yer haqida, boshqa galaktikalar haqida ma'lumotlar kelib chiqadi. Bu ham juda ham zo'r loyihamiz. Kosmik hakatonlar bizlarni Telegramda ham, Instagramda ham doimiy yoritib boriladi. Hakatonlar. Hakaton bu bilasizlar, musobaqa bo'ladi. 5 ta, 6 ta, 10 tacha jamoalar bo'ladi va hakatonda birinchi o'rin olgan g'oliblarga biz notebook, planshet, telefon shunga o'xshagan sponsorlarimiz tomonidan beriladigan qimmatbaho sovg'alar beramiz yokida chetga stajirovkalar bo'ladi. Endi yosh muhandis loyihasi bu yosh muhandis loyihasi har yil olib boriladigan loyihamiz. Yosh muhandis loyihasi hamma viloyatga boriladi, hamma viloyatda bitta markaziy joy tanlanadi. O'sha viloyatdagi universitetlar kimda jamoa bo'lsa kelib qatnashadi. Oxirida Toshkentda bo'ladi. Mana yaqinda bir oy o'tgan oy boshida yosh muhandis loyihasini final bosqichi Toshkentda bo'lib o'tdi. Raqamli texnologiya vazirligida vazir o'rinbosari, vazir qatnashdilar. Bizning agentligimiz rahbarlar qatnashib, birinchi o'rin olgan jamoalarning har bittasiga notebook, jamoa a'zolari har bittasiga notebook berildi. Ikkinchi o'ringa planshetlar, uchinchi o'ringa telefonlar va undan tashqari turli nominatsiyalar bo'ldi. Eng yaxshi muhandis, eng yaxshi mentor, shularga biz chet elga stajirovkalar qilib berdik. Endi Astronomik loyihasi bu Maydanakda Qashqadaryoda bo'lgan. Ustozimiz xabarlari bor. Biz universitetlardan bolalarni yig'ib olamiz. Sizlarda qiziqish bo'lsa, sizlar ham rahbariyatga aytsanglar, bizga chiqib eshitsa, biz ham welcome. Biz ham misol uchun bolalarni yig'ib Maydanakka olib boramiz. U yerda bir kecha qolishadi va Maydanakdagi qilmoqchi ishlar, o'sha observatoriyani ko'zdan kechirib, nima savollar bo'lsa, savollarga javob oladi. Hop, Space Game Jam bu Samarqandda bo'lib o'tgan. Buni yana qilamiz. Bu Yandex bilan hamkorlikdan olib borganmiz. Bunda ham bolalar o'z loyihasi bilan qatnashgan. Biz ham ularga investitsiya qilib berganmiz. Endi kosmik klublarimiz bu veb-saytda ochilgan. Toshkentda ham bor, Nukusda ham bor, hozirda Farg'onada ham ochilish ko'zda kutilyapti. Kosmik klublar o'zlarining klublarini ochadi, o'zlarining loyihalarini bizga beradi yoki o'zlarining hududida qanaqadir tadbir o'tkazmoqchi bo'lsa, bizani chaqiradi, biz ham ularga u yerga borib, ularga sponsorlik qilib beramiz. Xo'p, keyingisiga o'tishimiz mumkin. Hop, vaqtimiz juda oz qoldi. Men shu yerda o'zim so'zimni yakunlamoqchiman. Umuman olganda, Kosmos agentligi hozirgi kunda jadal rivojlanayotgan agentliklardan bittasi hisoblanadi. Nafaqat O'zbekistonda, Markaziy Osiyoda va shuni sizlarga ma'lum qilmoqchiman. So'zim oxirida 2028-yil Kosmos agentligi va Kosmos agentligi va xalqaro kosmik konferensiyalar bilan hamkorlikda biz Samarqandda katta konferensiya tashkil qilamiz. 15 mingga yaqin mehmon kelish kutilyapti. Sizlar ham meni kutib qolamiz bu tadbirimizda. Yana kimda qanaqa savollar bo'ladigan bo'lsa yoki kimda qanaqa takliflar bo'ladigan bo'lsa, kosmik sohada biz doim hammaga ochamiz. E'tiboringiz uchun rahmat. Vaqtingizga rozi bo'linglar.
Один вопрос от модератора. А вот отдел туризма у вас имеется? Потому что сейчас во многих министерствах и ведомствах есть там отдельный или человек, или целый отдел.
Отдел turizm bizda hozircha ochilmagan. Lekin biz turizm qo'mitasi bilan doimiy hamkorlik ishlab beramiz. Ya'ni aytganimdek, o'sha turizm qo'mitasi qoshida ochilgan turizm loyihalari instituti bor. Shular bilan hamkorlik olib boramiz, doimiy barnopa bilan aloqadamiz. Ya'ni biz ularga doimiy sinki berib boramiz. Ya'ni tarixiy obidalarni qo'ldan kelgancha asrab avaylash bo'yicha. Shu loyihamiz hozir aktiv. Va yana boshqa loyihalarimiz ham bor.
Rahmat.
Rahmat.
Assalomu alaykum, hurmatli hamkasblar, avvalambor xush kelibsizlar. Mana bugun men bu yerga bu konferensiyaga taklif etilganidan juda xursandman. Endi men bir boshidan sizlarga aytmasam tushunarsiz qolaman. Shuning uchun men endi alohida o'lcha kompleksini men boshidan aytsam tushunarli bo'ladi deb o'ylayman. Bu bizning asosiy Maydanak balandtog' o'lchov kompleksimiz 1974-yilda qurilish boshlanib, 80-yilda borib nimaga topshirilgan. İşçi olarak çok topşirilgan. Asosiy maqsadi bu kosmik navigatsiya, ya'ni Maydanakdan to sun'iy do'stlikcha bo'lgan kosmik apparatlarcha bo'lgan masofani koordinatlar o'lchash. Bu birinchi vazifamiz. Ikkinchi vazifamiz Baykonur, Vostochniy, Protses kosmodromlardan sun'iy yo'ldoshlar kosmodromga uchirilganga ulardan to'rt syomka qilish. Maqsad nima? Bu har qanday kosmik apparatni attrajatellar, ishchi qurilmalari yerga qarab turibdimi, ishchi holatgami? Mana shular bilan biz ishlaganmiz. Bu bizning ishimiz 22-14-dekabrga borib o'z nimasini faoliyatini to'xtatdi va prezidentimizning qarorlari bilan 376-qarorlari bilan 23-yilda Maydanak balandtog' turistik markazi tashkil etildi. Mana o'zlaringiz ko'ryapsizlar, bu rasmlarga oldida ikkita teleskopimiz, bittasi ekvatorlarni azimati 24, ikkinchisi azimutani 24 teleskopimiz. Bizga hozir nima maqsad qo'yilgan, ekvatorlar teleskopimizda ham sayyohlar uchun ko'rsatish va kelajakka ilmiy tadqiqot ishlarini olib borish uchun mo'ljallangan. Azimutani teleskopimiz bu muzey bo'lib turibdi. Birinchi etajda, ikkinchi etajda zamonaviy muzey jihozlari ta'minlangan, chiroyli holatda turibdi. Undan tashqari yana nima sayyohlar uchun qulaylik olib kirish uchun bizga 10 dona katta hajmdagi katta oilalar uchun sig'adigan 96 kvadrat metrlik bir etajli uylarimiz, shalviy tipidagi uylarimiz va kichik oilalar uchun 10 ta 83 kvadratli shalviy uylarimiz qurildi. Undan tashqari 20 ta kapsula yosh oilalar uchun ham olib o'rnatilgan. Bu ham bu Maydanak turistik, balandtog' turistik markazini jozibadorligini oshiradi. Va 1 kilometrga yaqin granit toshlar va yana bu 26-yilga borib, oxirida bu birinchi etapi qurilishga nimaga topshiriladi, ekspertga topshiriladi. Asosiy qurilishni Discover kompaniyasi amalga oshiryapti. Maydanak astroiqlimi bir yilda 260-270 kecha to'liq kecha olamiz. Astroiqlim bo'yicha aytaman. Dengiz sathidan 2750 metr balandlikda. Atrofi zarafshon archalari bilan o'ralgan. Bo'g'oq, astma kasalliklari uchun davo. Mana shu qisqacha shu. Rahmat e'tiborlaringiz uchun.
Сейчас вопросики. Вот, да-да-да, у нас давайте один вопрос от модератора, один вопрос из зала, а потом еще во время дискуссии. Ну давайте, раз у вас уже вопрос есть, с вас начнем.
Xuddi shunday kategoriya obyektida.
Hozir o'sha
o'zi ochildi 2014 dekabrda prezident qarori bilan harbiy qism tarqatib yubordida bizlarni Qashqadaryo viloyati huzuridagi turizm infratuzilmani rivojlantirish va boshqarish departamentiga tarkibiga o'tdik.
Ikkinchi savolimki, kitob shahrida u yoqqa internet uchadi.
Oldin bizga yo'q, hozir shuni biz endi kitobda mo'ljallamayapmiz. Bizlarda nimamiz Mirakidan Maydanakka vertolyot nimasi qo'yiladi xizmati. Bir sutkada 3 ta reys bo'ladi sayyohlar uchun. Keyin yana o'zim aytdim bu Qizil Qamashidan Maydanakkacha 18 kilometr prezident loyihasi bo'yicha Maydanakka kelgan sayyoh orqa qaytib ketmasin. Yana bu Maydanakda aylangandan keyin yana dalshi u yoqdan ovlasin Amir Temur g'origa. Yo'q bo'lmasa bu yoqqa Shahzobizga tog' orqali nimadan Sangardagidan Tatardan yo'l kelyapti, Surxondaryoga o'tib ketish. Yana dalshi bu Hazrat Bashir bilan o'tib Samarqandga o'tib ketish tog' yo'li bilan loyihalar qilingan. Yangi yo'l quriladi. To'g'ri, bu katta mablag' sarflanadi, nima bo'ladi bu baribir. 25-iyunga topshiriladi. Mana shu iyun oyiga birinchi bosqichi. Bu yerga bizga asosan shu aytdim, shu uylar kechqurun sayyohlar uchun teleskoplar ishlaydi. Bu tushunimsiz gaplar. Yozgandan keyin yana mutaxassis sizning gapingizga javob beradi aniq qilib.
Что, спасибо большое. А вот как раз и значит, макет той самой обсерватории Улугбека, о которой мы сегодня говорили. И весь зал вот этот посвящен его астрономическим изысканиям. Ну что, хорошее начало для астротуристического продукта. Вау! Она крутится. Это просто супер. Продолжаем астротуристическую панель. Теперь уже в центре исламской цивилизации. Вот наши спикеры. Институт развития туризма всем нам, участникам сегодняшней конференции, устроил эту экскурсию. Я сам тоже еще здесь не был, сколько он уже несколько месяцев как работает. Очень интересно. Вот это как раз была тематичная наша астрономическая секция. Была и вот есть. Так что дай бог, будем продолжать и общение, и нетворкинг с этими интересными специалистами, которые приехали и сегодня выступили у нас. Ну и, конечно, будем развивать тему астротуризма у нас в Узбекистане и в Центральной Азии. Инсайтов сегодня было получено более чем достаточно. Но теперь будем работать в этом направлении. Хотя первый кирпич заложен именно сегодня. Такой полный рабочий день, погружение в эту тему, да, вот лично для меня модерация этой секции, знакомство со спикерами. Сейчас даже эта экскурсия в этом прекрасном новом музее. Все это как бы, ну, будем считать началом прокапывания темы астротуризма в Узбекистане. Спасибо всем, кто и был сегодня с нами вживую на конференции, и кто досмотрел это видео до конца. Всем успехов!